welcome back to the Unleashing. This video is going to be a little bit different, and I was given a little bit of information last night, just a snippet, and it's right up my alley, and I wanted to share it. But before we get into the context of this, this video is going to skate very close to something that I said I want to talk about, which is fighting. All right, I have a reason for that. There's nothing more sacred other than God, obviously, to me, that is more incredible than fighting, than battle. All right, it is the power to destroy evil and stop bad guys, the forces of darkness, in their tracks. Okay, that's absolutely sacred. It always has been to me. All right, it's an incredible gift to retaliate against the forces of darkness. All right, it's very sacred, and I've spent my entire life searching for the most power absolutely possible to fight the forces of darkness. Okay, right? And I've tried to make this clear several times, over and over and over again. All right, so hopefully you have somewhat of an idea. And I don't think anybody's quite figured anything out or put it together. But I've told you exactly what I've been after, and God knew the whole time as a young man, and He watched me grow up. He watched me make the sacrifices and everything else, and then He called me, obviously, to where we are right now, what I'm doing. Okay, but when I tell you information that has to do with fighting and honor and things like that, in the most selfless way, where I can just say it, there isn't anybody else that you could really ever go to other than God Himself that's going to tell you or point you in the direction of power, right? So if you're searching for that, if you're seeking after it for the right reasons, right, to put the forces of darkness down, then you've come to the right place. Okay, you really have. And I'm hoping that I can get through with some different things, and this is only going to point out in this video the kinds of things that we're going to be up against and stuff, and why it's so cringy when I hear people say, "Oh, you're working out, you're getting prepared for Armageddon or stronger." Like, this physical body that I'm in right now can have any sort of retaliation or strength against what we're going to be up against. It doesn't. It absolutely doesn't. This body is used for one purpose: to show what you are, to pass the test, and to create a receipt, a ticket that you get to show later, so that when you are standing before God and it's time to suit up in the new body He has for you, all right, you're going to have the receipt when they say, "Ooh, upgrade in this area, ooh, upgrade in this area, ooh, upgrade in this area." Why some people are coming in to hold a basket of grapes and wave the warriors off as they go into legend and stories that are told for eons and eons of time in glorious combat, they're missing out on the whole thing, all right? Satan knows this, all right? It's in all the churches, your pastors and teachers, and it is why all of them are such pathetic weaklings, all right? And you know this for a fact. You've seen the jaw. It does not protrude out, it protrudes in. The absolute definition of the beta male that follows is a complete wimp, where they have taken the scripture and created meekness into weakness, and that is supposed to be the definition of what a man is: a sniveling little weasel, bitch ass, right? Which is what the majority of Christians are, right? I can't stand it. It drives me absolutely nuts. And this is millions of them over throughout the whole world, right? It's very difficult and frustrating. And in this channel, of course, when I was told to talk, and which is I do, I've always had this hope that, ooh, this might be the chance to create or help or lead legendary warriors, which is something I've been searching for my entire life. And I have told you in little snippets of stories, all right, from wanting to be a Navy SEAL, wanting to be Delta Force, constantly searching for that team, that family, right? Not my family that I was born into, that I love and care about, all right? That is not the same calling. When you are in glorious battle and you're next to your buddy, all right, and you're laying the enemy's lives down, all right, it is so badass, and the camaraderie, all right, and the brotherhood that's created from that is a tighter bond than you will ever have with any other brother ever, all right? It's absolutely glorious, and I want to have this bond with only a few others that are absolute pinnacle of fighting and battle, right? And I've searched for it, and I thought that in this channel, maybe, just maybe, all right, and I'm not looking for much, just as an idea, if I can get one guy from each continent, all right? And these days, in this end of time, when people are at the worst and everybody's a narcissist and they're selfish and pathetic and completely weakened down, right? If I could just find one on each one, we could put a team together, all right? All right, that is not here. It is a receipt for later in battle, all right? The guy that you can look across at when you're laying down the biggest and the baddest, and you don't have to say anything. The stories will be told about you, all right? The glory will be yours, all right? But if I could just find one of those, all right? And it's impossible. It's absolutely impossible from what I've seen, but there's always that hope, okay? There's always that hope. And if you can take my words, if you can heed them, all right? If you can fast track, if you could go to God, if you have the courage, if you have the guts to say, God, I want to be the greatest warrior that I possibly can be to honor you, all right? And he sees it, all right? Just like your personal trainer, he will write it up, and it's going to be pure, absolutely pure pain, okay? And he's going to tell you, all right, to fast track in this time that we're at, where you're at, how far along you've come, all right, to get there, to qualify for it, to, you know, give the qualifications to do this, because it is earned through this walk that you have, all right, to show the receipt, that's going to cost you everything, all right? So the people the men, if there is even one out there, right, if they are out there, right, you'll never be married, all right? You're not going to have any kids, and most likely everything is going to be taken from you, okay? And you can understand why people turn it down, all right? And I've asked everybody. I've gone through Christians and men that I've killed beside, all right? And I've asked them, and when it comes to it, the price is just too much. It's just too much, and I understand, because I've had to pay this price, and it's beyond comparison on difficulty, all right? But I essentially sold my soul to God, my King, for power at a young age, all right? And without even knowing at the time the steps that he was putting me through, like the personal trainer that had written this up, I did not understand at the time. I do now, and it all makes perfect sense. But at the time I did not, all right? There was nobody you can go to. There's no preacher on the planet. There is no teacher anywhere on this entire planet in this time that can tell you what I'm telling you right now, other than me. So if you've come to me, all right, if this is calling to your soul right now, and it's beating on you like a war drum, I encourage you to do it. There's not that much time left, okay? There really isn't. But if you could do it, if you can ask for it, all right, your path will be honor, right? That is the currency, that is the receipt. And when you can show that at the end, the power will be yours, okay? You will be suited up, more legendary than everybody else, okay? So I want you to keep this rummage through your mind, but don't wait too long, because there's not that much time. The longer you wait, the less time there is to do more honorable acts, okay? So I want you to think about that, all right? But if you've got the balls to do this, all right? If you haven't been castrated by society, by women, by everybody out there that's trying to feminize you, all right? I knew what they were doing the whole time. I always have. From the very beginning, the whole feminization of men, right? They're getting ready for war. They don't want men that'll fight back. They don't want that fire in their eyes, all right? They are absolutely trying to decimate that before they come in and just bulldoze men everywhere, okay? And they've done it. They've won for that part, all right? And it's been written down. But if you can defy that, if you can walk with God, if you can let him show you that higher path, it's going to be legendary, okay? It's going to be legendary, and I don't have time for weakness or any stupid nonsense, okay? So many people write and say different things and all this other stuff. It means absolutely nothing to me, okay? But if you're out there, if you're not commenting in the sections, all right, if you've been hidden in secret, you just take this stuff and you're mulling over it. You're walking the path. You're getting closer to God. You're reading the Bible. It's becoming your sword. You know it like the back of your hand, all right? People can't pull things over you, okay? You're continuing to walk with God. You may be who I'm talking to, okay? And I pray that I am. More than anything, I want to see you when this is done in the battle. battle, looking beside. Oh yeah, taking out the big guys, okay? Because it's going to be totally awesome, all right? Beyond anything you can possibly imagine, all right? And it's so worth it, all right? So just a little context before we get started on what I'm about to talk about here. But here we go. Last night I'm in the house and I'm sitting there. I'm just watching some videos and stuff like that, right? And something popped up on YouTube, and I'm watching, and it was just one of those little clips or whatever. It was talking about the Titans, okay? If you guys don't know what the Titans are in Greek mythology and stuff like that, which isn't that much mythology all over the world, all right? There's mountain ranges and things like that that look like actual petrified giants that are huge, all right? I've shown some pictures before, footprints and stuff like that, but some of the big ones that are in Enoch, when you start to look at them, we're talking 2 miles or so high. Absolute massive giants, right? These half angel, half human, crazy beings, okay? Because before the flood, it was a different world, and your stories of Greek gods, all right, your fallen angels, and the Titans, their offsprings and things like that, all right, that battled and fought against each other, all right, when they're throwing mountains at each other and just decimating whole areas, all right? It was epic proportion on the colossal scale, okay? All right, and people always underestimate the tribulation. It's just so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. It's laughable. You see these guys with their profile pictures holding a sword, and they look like they've been tweaking half their life, right? And they're post-tribbers, and they're going to fight their way through the tribulation, and it's so legendary. It's so foolish to me. It's so stupid. This body can't do anything, all right, when it comes to the battles that I'm talking about, all right? This is your receipt. So what do you do? What is the point of being strong now? Should a man be strong? Absolutely. 100% he should be strong, okay? And that strength is always used for one purpose, all right? To help others, to help the weak, to lift others up, to stand in the gap, to be a fighter, to be a warrior, a defender. You are a Jedi, okay? Wherever you are, peace should flow because everybody knows that you will protect, all right? You're a battle-hardened badass, okay? And that is what the Christian man should be. He's always supposed to be like that, all right? And what's happened is you've got feminization inside the churches and the weakest people, all right? Because most of the time it's a collection of just little pissants, all right? That come in, that things didn't go their way in life, so they decided now they're going to go into the Christian society and I want, and not do anything for God, right? And I absolutely detest it. Whereas the Christian, the true Christian, is representation of honor, fighting, and being selfless and honorable, all right, his entire life, okay? And what is honor, all right? Honor is selflessness. Honor is courage. Honor is bravery, all right? These 3 things, if you know that, you're going to be walking the honorable path. And what are those things? They are putting others before yourself. So what is the fundamentals of selflessness? It's love, of course, all right? All right, when you can put others before yourself, when you're training, when you're making yourself stronger so that when you are out, you're in public, the child that is innocent, all right, that's about to be hurt, you can defend, to the old woman that might only have 5 days left, all right, that you are trained and hardened to fight, to lay your life down to protect a complete stranger, okay? This is selflessness, this is honor. If you can walk this path, you are an honorable man, all right? And that is the purpose of it. So when you see these fat, roly-poly, lazy-ass Christians, right, I'm not into it at all. You're supposed to be strong. You're supposed to represent. You're supposed to catch the eye of the public that you stand out. You're always, and always have been, supposed to stand out, all right? It's what a Christian really is. And you're not to be a mockery or anything of that. They'll try, but they'll always fail, because when you step up to the plate, you're always winning. You're always going to win. You're in the lead. They want you, all right? And they can't say anything bad. When you can physically show that to the rest of the world, all right, while they're trying to put you down, all right, the Christian can always answer the call, all right? Because they're supposed to be like that, all right? So I want you to realize that this is what it's supposed to be like. And if you can walk that path, your life, all right, that honorable path, then you can bring that before God, all right, when it comes time in heaven at the Bema seat. And he will see that and how you did, and your rewards will be substantial, okay? And when it comes to God, It's always representing the best, just like he's told me before, you know, in the quiet. It's never too intense, all right? And with God, it isn't. Everything it's beyond measure, all right? And it's never too much with him. He is the best. He gets the best, okay? And the people that are going to be representing that, all right, which is what we're supposed to be, is supposed to represent that 100%, okay? And most of the time it falls completely short, all right? So I'm in the kitchen. I'm watching some videos, and it's on the Titans, all right? I'm just kind of browsing through and listening to the video, you know, and I'm thinking about it. And the reality of it is totally real, okay? And I'm watching how they got locked up in Tartarus, okay? Chained and bound in a huge, huge pit. And while I'm watching this, something that's happened so many times before when it comes to my knowledge that's brought to me and things like that, right? And it can be different ways. Sometimes I hear the voice of God. Sometimes it's just a thought that comes to my mind. Sometimes it's too much. And I'm like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. Not right now. I don't even want to think about it. That's too much. And this one was that same way, and it was just for a split second. But as I'm paying attention to this, I get blasted right into my mind. The seven thunders. And I'm like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. No way. Are you serious? For those that need a little reference, the seven thunders in Revelation 10 are mentioned, right? A gigantic angel. John's on Patmos. He's east of Greece, all right? Where these Greek gods and stories come from, all right? He sees an angel come down. It's huge. It's clothed in clouds, right? Its face like the sun. Pillars of fire for its legs, all right? And it puts one foot in the ocean and the other on land. It gives this roar. And the seven thunders, translated, roar back, all right? And John starts to write it down, and he's told to keep it a secret, okay? Last night, what I was told is a correlation between that, all right? In the tribulation, the Titans are going to be released, okay? That's freaking badass. And beyond anything that I've thought of before, okay, because like I say, they always downplay it, all right? They always downplay it. You guys have heard Tom Horn before talking about Apophis. Apophis is coming, Apophis is coming, all right? Apophis that NASA did is a counterattack to the real thing. When Tom Horn was woken up in the night, and he's told Apophis is coming, all right? And he knows that it's a Greek-Roman god, all right, a disaster or the serpent or whatever that's in the sky, all right? He is literally getting told, straight up, the Nibiru system that destroyed the solar system is coming, all right? And NASA counterattacks by naming a little dinky asteroid that could barely do anything, all right? Oh, it might cause some damage on Earth. That's Apophis, which is coming in 2029, so that must be the midpoint of tribulation under their calculations, not realizing that they're falling for a trap, which is a counterattack. It doesn't matter what NASA calls or counters up, and if it's the same name, all right? It's like false religions, Mormonism, calling Jesus, Jesus, all right? It's not the same Jesus. It's completely different. The real system that comes through in the tribulation is the same one that cratered the moon, destroyed the whole northern crust of Mars, blasted the planet between Mars and Jupiter, Rahab, and turned it into the asteroid belt, and cracked open the Earth and created the flood, killing everything on Earth, all right? Okay? That's the real Apophis, and it is coming, and it's going to be in the tribulation, and it always gets downplayed to this little measly, weak-ass thing that, oh, we can make it through, and or you see, you know, these memes where a plastic chair falls over, and they say, oh, we'll rebuild, all right, all cocky, like, after an earthquake or something like that, all right? Everybody's going to die, all right? And the second half of the tribulation is for the worst of the worst of the worst. And then they get the wrath of God. But leading up to that midpoint, all right, it is all designed to point out, hey, God's real, the stories are real. Each time he's revealing more. He's revealing more, just like the doubting Thomas that needs to see the hands, that needs to see that. Others can believe, others can't. All right, he keeps cracking it open more and more and more and showing so many legendary things that it's finally like, holy crap, okay, I see the pierce in the side, I see the hole in the hands, all right? That's real, All right, when you're looking at 2 mile high titans that are ravaging cities and things like that, which is now a fine example of why the Godzilla movies and things like that are such a big hit. All right, they've been showing us the whole time. All right, they know about it, and why has it been kept for so long? All right, why has it been kept a secret? Why was John told not to? It's really interesting, and I thought about that last night, and I had an instant idea on why. And it is because for 2,000 years, right, with Greek mythology and things like that, people can get off track. Look at all the people that are watching the sun, moon, and the stars right now in astrology, okay? Since the Revelation 12 sign, which did happen, all right? It's one of the signs that we knew, all right? But now you got these people coming on saying, well, this constellation means heaven, and this is that, all right? No, they're just making stuff up. They don't know what it means, and that's why I don't talk about that stuff. There was one time when it really did mean something, all right? And that was at September 23rd, 2017. It's the only one that lined up. It really does line up. Virgo really is in the fall. It was the same time it happened. It was on Feast of Trumpets, and it got everybody's attention, okay? And just like this overlay, which is Revelation chapter 12, that tells about that part, it does not say the length of time between these events, and we're between the Revelation 12 sign and when the giant Apophis or Nibiru system comes through, okay? And but people downplay it all the time, all right? But in the tribulation, it's going to be worse than anything you can possibly imagine, and God's going to just keep revealing more and more and more. And it doesn't state exactly when it happens. Maybe between seal 6 and heaven, 6 and 7, or trumpets, 6 and 7, or maybe some other time that's going to be an overlay. But at one of those times, they're going to come down, and these creatures, and I only got a snippet of it, just the 7 thunders, all right? So it might be some creatures that have been locked up, gigantic. It might be a coalition of several different ones, including the Leviathan in the Marianas Trench, all right, that people have had encounters with, and other things like that that have been hidden on the earth the entire time. When these things come out, what is this? This is the hole in the hands. This is the doubting Thomas. This is, these creatures are real. The stories aren't fake. All right, the story of the gods, fallen angels coming down, mating with women and stuff like that, it's all real. There is nothing to doubt anymore. Believe in God, repent, you're going to die, but give your life to him. For crying out loud, how much more do I have to show you, all right? And the timing of this, to release the Titans right before the 7th trumpet, the halfway point, basically when all the Christians are killed and it's just filth that's left, all right, is very convenient timing. It's like it's pulling out one last stop. Like, how much more do I have to show you? How much more do I have to show you? All right? What does this have to do with battle and fighting, which is how I started the video, right? Because these are some of the things that you're going to be fighting against, all right? All right, if any of them are left, when it comes, the battle, all right? This is why it's so cringy when people are like, oh, you're working out for the war. It's like, shut the hell up. You have no idea what you're talking about. You're working out for a life of honor, so you can lay down your life for the innocent and the defenseless, if you have to, at all times. And walk that path of honor until the day you die or until the day you are raptured. And that life of honor, when it is seen, receded, all right? Because you weren't like the pastors, the preachers, and all the beta male bitch asses that are in churches around the world that I absolutely detest and can't stand, all right? You stood for something. You were more. You're going to get suited up. You're going to get pushed further in the front of that line, all right, in Armageddon. And you're going to be sent to take out the big boys, okay? And that's the badass stuff, all right? That's the badass stuff that I like to talk about, like to think about. And the little revelation that was just kind of imprinted on me last night is absolutely legendary. And the timing for it is, it's great. It's right at the end, all right? Like I was saying, all right, why was it kept? So many times people get off track, all right? They get off track and they start to follow things like the constellations and stuff. Why, they don't have the faith, or they start to mix things up and to bring stuff out that is also part of Greek mythology, right, where they might fall into that trap where they're mixing things up. It would be a good reason maybe to deter that from being known until the right time, until the end time, all right, where you can see the coalition, that the stories of the Greek gods and things like that had nothing to do with that stuff. It was fallen angels, war with God in heaven, all right, and watchers that were being trapped and chained, and their children and offspring, okay, when you can put this all together at the right time. And maybe that's why now it's being presented, but I absolutely do not think this was by any accident. It's the same way that I get talked to many times before, and when you look into some of what it says about it, they were chained for all time, but there's also different stories where they're going to be released for a certain time, all right? And I just find that very, very interesting, and in a compelling way, it lines up perfectly with this. And I think that's why, and the representation of the gigantic angel coming down and giving that roar, it's so perfect, because the size of him that stands on half the land and on the sea is so appropriate for what they're yelling at to start coming back out. And I believe this is going to be in the tribulation. Okay, I don't want to share that.
Release the Kraken!
You know, God's literally going to be releasing the Kraken and all his little buddies to come out one last time to convince the world, hey, it's not a game. Everything you've ever heard before, everything that they've tried to hide and put under, all right? We're talking about Hollow Earth and all the other crazy stuff that people don't even know exists. It's all real, all right? It's all real, and it's going to blow people's minds like they've never even imagined. There's never been a worse time in the history of the world. You never want to downplay the tribulation, all right? And you want to ride into glorious battle with God. And to do that is to live an honorable life. It's to pass that test. It's to not go down the path of billions of other weakling Christians that have all been subdued, castrated, and led astray through false religion that stem from the Roman Catholic Church. All right? You need to come back to your roots. You as a man were born to be legendary. You were born to kick ass. You were born to represent honor in every single way, and to stand before the king and be proud about it. All right? You always have been. All right? That's your purpose, to give your life to the king, to kneel for him and him alone and nobody else. And when the world tries to throw things at you, you stand in legend, and people will always remember your name. All right? They won't forget it. All right? When you're doing that stuff, there is a time and a place to be defiant. And that has been happening now for a long time, all right? Defiance is absolutely beautiful. When tyranny is in your face and they're telling you to put on the stupid mask, and you say, F you, and throw it in their face, all right? And everybody else is too afraid to do it because they're going to lose their job, all right? And they fire you and you walk out, all right? It goes into legend. Why did you stand that way? Why were you that way? But they know that you're a Christian. Christians are bold. Christians are lions, all right? Because that's how they were supposed to be, all right? And that fire in every man, whether he says so or not, it starts to kindle. I want to be like that. Why is it calling to me? Why is it pulling on my heart so much? What is this? It's in your DNA to be a warrior. It always has been. To not be a weak-ass, pansy-ass bitch, right? It's always been in your DNA to be a warrior and to represent God and the Most High and be furious when it comes to facing the forces of darkness, okay? It always has been, and that's why it pulls on your heart so much. That's why I'm having this conversation with you, and you're like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, all right? It's why it's calling to you. You know that it's there. You know it always has been. You just didn't know how to put it into words, okay? It's real. And everything that you do in life, all right, which echoes in eternity, every single thing that you do is for that purpose, to build up that receipt, all right, for God, so that you can present this to him, all right, when it's Bema Seat judgment time, all right, and you're getting the rewards, and you're getting the rank, and you're getting the position. Because when you see the new bodies that we have that are so kick-ass that you can't even imagine, all right, that are designed to take out titans, all right, and be legendary, it's going to blow your effing mind. You've never seen anything like it, and you can't comprehend it or imagine it. It's going to blow your mind, all right? And if I'm the only one on the planet that can represent this and show it to you, so be it. But I'm always looking for others, okay? So if you're out there, if you want to answer this call, if you want to push the limits of power beyond all imagination, it's always been the same way. You go to God. That's how you do it, all right? You go to God, and he will present that path for you, all right? He won't let you down, and it's going to hurt. I promise you, it's going to hurt so bad. But when you're done with it, you're going to be so grateful when you're laying down titans and other abominations that they've been getting ready for war, all right? Just like a kid, as the cups get built up in your design or whatever, the bigger it is, the more legendary it is when you get to knock it down, okay? It always has been. It's still inside you to this day, all right? Think about that, all right? Think about that. So how do you know that I'm telling you the truth, all right? That what I'm speaking is legit? The real question is, how you haven't known the whole time, all right? That's the real question. But I want you to think about this for a second, all right? I've told you exactly what I have planned, what I'm doing, and what my purpose is, all right? Fighting means everything to me, and honoring God, my King, is the greatest thing that I can possibly think of doing. I cannot wait to kneel and present when it's time, all right? And I have messed up plenty, just as we all have, all right? But I keep going, I keep getting back up, and I keep fighting. And I never let anybody try to control me or tell me what to do, because all they want to do is subdue greatness, all right? And they're not going to get that chance. God did not create me to be second best or some weak-ass pansy. He created me to represent, to stand out. And I do that the best that I possibly can wherever I go, all right? I want you to think about this for a second. When Solomon asked for wisdom, all right, what was given to him? Well, everything. Women, money, power, all right? But were these things given to him as extras, or were they something else? Were they supporting elements for what he asked for in the first place? Through the money, the women, the power that he possessed, all right? It gave him the stories, the message, and the life lessons to write down the proverbs, all right, that he did to become the wisest man. So were these supporting elements? You better believe they were, all right? When an artist, like that girl, Arcade, right, that painted the Jesus picture, which Christians bashed on her because she used dark paint, all right? The same people that bash on swearing in the comment section when I'm trying to save your ass. The same people that try to sue you when you punch them in the water, when you're dragging them to shore, saving their life because they're drowning and trying to drown you at the same time. The same Pharisees, all right, that attack Jesus because he's healing on the Sabbath, making the point. He's drawing them out, all right? He's drawing them out. I was so happy to delete several of you, all right, that are bitching at me last week, all right, in the comment section. Absolutely, it's time for you to go. I'm so tired of the pansy-assness. It just drives me nuts, all right? I'm not here to be controlled by anybody. Nobody tells me what to do. Nobody's telling me what to do, and don't act like I haven't read the Bible and know exactly what Scripture says, including with swearing. But if I'm using it for a purpose, I'm going to do it. The rest of the time, I'm a clean man, as much as I possibly can be, all right? But I'm not apologizing for it. I use it for a purpose, and now several of you are standing outside in the cold looking into the comment section while others are enjoying Thanksgiving dinner, having fun in here, still talking. You popped off, and you won't ever speak here again, all right? And you deserve it. So keep that in mind for the rest of you that want to try any of that crap, because I won't put up with it. I have literally blocked thousands, okay? Blocked thousands. These supporting elements, all right, for the artist that's going to become the master at it. What are some of them that are going to happen? She's going to have notoriety, be able to travel around the world, all right, so people know, recognition and things, all right, with the dexterity and abilities that she gets, okay, to be a master in that, or to be a master of wisdom, so on and so forth. Those are just two different representations, all right? How do you know that I'm speaking the truth about any of this? I've told you, I look into people's hearts. I read minds. I can look through time. I've been given knowledge. I share it with everybody. I can't make this stuff up. You literally have the evidence right in front of you. What are these things? Is this my highest purpose? Or are they supporting elements for something larger? Something that everybody should see and should have known the entire time. It's so flipping obvious. It's right in front of your face. They are supporting elements, all right? You have to know your enemy. You have to be able to look inside them, all right? You have to be able to speak, to say cocky, confident things right before you bash them, all right? You have to have the knowledge, all right, the wisdom to search out, because there are two people that are constantly training and fighting. The forces of darkness and the hero, all right? They're the only ones. They're always fighting. The rest of everybody's just squandering around, doesn't know what's happening in the proverbial courtroom that goes, oh, why are they coming after this person, all right? The hero's always training. He never stops. And the bad guy's always training to create as much evil as possible and stop the good guy, all right? That's what's happening. That's what's always doing. You should always be training as well, all right? These supporting elements in my life that I've showed and shared with you guys constantly, and I have, the very evidence of why I can talk about the things that I have and the things you've never heard before are your evidence. They are the supporting elements for something larger, something bigger, something more grand, something colossal, all right, that I asked for as a child, all right? And it's being fulfilled right in front of everybody's face. And I'm telling you, I'm asking you to join me, to push as hard as you possibly can before the end. However long we have, I know that it's closer than ever. We might not have more than a week, or we might have another year. And things might get shut down at any time, all right? But in that meantime, push with everything you have. Constantly push to live a life of honor, selflessness, lead people to Christ whenever you can. Constantly represent, all right? I'm not talking about your sins, all right? You're going to sin, you're going to ask for forgiveness, you get back up, you keep fighting. There's going to be a trail that gets left behind. But the actual fight to do what's right, to live that honor, man, I'm talking to you, all right? Do it. Push with everything you possibly can. And you won't get to see the results right now, but you will later, okay? And constantly remember what I told you. The pillar of pride and arrogance and ego, when you start to see that reflection in the mirror of what you're turning into, holy crap, is this for real? You have to ignore it. You have to push it back, all right? And you have to use your gifts, all right, that God gives you, that you ask for, all right? The things that you present, all right, that's been presented to you from God, all right? You represent that, and you use it the best that you can for the kingdom of God. These are your talents, all right? For those that just listen and take information, all right? And you think, oh, I have the most information possible, and you've done absolutely nothing with it. I want to move you closer to the end here, all right? Because this knowledge, this information that you get, that you squander, all right? All right, these are your talents, okay? Be very careful what you're doing, because when you stand in front of God and you say, God, I had all this information. Oh, so powerful. What does it amount to? Well, let's see here. You're right. You did have a lot of information. You realize that I gave this to you, child. Well, thank you, God. Thank you for giving us all information. I'm the smartest man alive. I watched all these YouTube videos. I'm such a genius. That's right. These are talents that I've given to you. And what did you do with them? Oh, wait. Can we... I don't like the direction this is going. Oh, yes, it's too late. You filthy and worthless servant. You did nothing with it. All the information that I gave you, you set on your ass, and you didn't share the gospel. You didn't live a life of honor. You just watched and accumulated and did nothing. I'm taking everything you have. I'm giving it to the unleashing. Get out of my sight, all right? You do not want to be that person, okay? It's very serious, all right? Do not accumulate knowledge if you're not going to use it for the kingdom of God. Everything you have, everything you get, let it be more firepower. Let it be more intensity, all right, for your walk with God. And I encourage you to walk that path 100%. Legendary, all right? Legendary. I want you to be legends, okay? And we don't know the outcome of what's going to happen, all right? We don't know the outcome. But at the very end, I want you to be able to say that you gave everything you had, just like I'm going to say. Whether I make it to where I want to be or not, I'm going to be able to say, I gave everything I have, and I have no regrets. I gave it all to God. This is for you, God. Use it the best that you can. I honor you. You are my king, all right? Forever, all right? Remember that, all right? And take this lesson seriously, because I want you to be fighting titans, okay? All right? You were born to be legends, okay? Like I say, this video skated very close to the art of fighting. Something that I've said I want to talk about before, and I'm not going fully into it, but I did get very, very close in this, all right? I want you to pay attention, all right? You run the race, not by your actions that you do in the physical here, not by taking steroids, all right? But by your receipt of honor that you hand in at the end. And when it matters, when it lasts for eternity, that's where you get suited up, all right? That's where you get beefed up. That's where you get the real power, okay? Always remember that. God bless. I'll catch you next time on Unleashing. I'll see you in there. Bye.